focus. After 10 days of deadlock in Parliament's ongoing monsoon session over Manipur crisis, both the Treasury and the opposition benches were seen in a state of climb down, looking for a middle path to end the logjam. While opposition softened its stance, saying that it will settle for discussion on Manipur under any Rajya rule, provided there is no time constraints. The government also agreed to a longer discussion, but one which comes with Home Minister's statement. Now, the development comes after Union Minister Piyush Goyal and Pralhad Joshi visited leader of opposition Kharge's office and offered a discussion on Manipur. The opposition is now mulling on government's offer as opposed to their earlier demand to have the discussion under Rule 267, which allows suspension of the listed matters on the day to discuss an issue. However, the opposition still believes that a statement by Prime Minister Modi is necessary. All right, so that's the latest that we can tell you as far as what transpired in the Parliament today. Remember, this is after 10 days of deadlock in the Parliament's ongoing monsoon session over Manipur crisis. Now, both the Treasury and the opposition benches were seen in the state of climb down, looking for a middle path to end the logjam. Of course, it can be seen as an outreach as well. Now, this is also because of the fact that very crucial to remember here that Union Ministers Piyush Goyal and Pralhad Joshi did visit leader of opposition Kharge's office, and offered a discussion on Manipur. Now, while the opposition softened its stance, saying that it will settle for discussion on Manipur under any rule provided there's no time constraint. But before this, there was a verbal duel between Jagdeep Dhankar and leader of opposition in Rajya Sabha, Mallikarjun over the discussion of Manipur, saying that opposition has clearly listed reasons for demanding the long discussion and it should not be a prestige issue. Now, he also took a jibe at Dhankar over allegedly defending the PM, to which the Rajya Sabha chair denied the charge and claimed that he's not defending the Prime Minister, but pointed that the Prime Minister has achieved global recognition. Listen in. Let me go across to my colleague Samya. Samya, good evening. Of course, there are two aspects of this. On one hand, if you were to talk about the top focus of how you were also pointing out earlier about the outreach, how do you look at this development, especially with the fact that we've been seeing continuous logjam for the past couple of days?
Well, absolutely. As far as the logjam in the Parliament is concerned, both the houses of Parliament still has the stalemate continuing, although the Lok Sabha is right now discussing the ordinance issue with the opposition party leaders being allowed to place on record their statements. The matter is being discussed. The ordinance on Delhi services will be coming up in the Rajya Sabha on Monday now. But the Rajya Sabha logjam is far from over. We did see how it was the leader of the House, Piyush Goyal, and the Parliamentary Affairs Minister, Pralhad Joshi, who went to the room of leader of the opposition, Mallikarjun to try and make a reach out, to try and arrive at a middle ground. They are now trying to emphasize on a discussion under Rule 167, not 176 of a short duration, not 267 of a suspension of the business motion, but 167. Now, the demand from the opposition parties then is very clear. They are saying that there should be more than 2.5 hours allotted for the discussion on Manipur. It needs to be a threadbare discussion, a full-fledged discussion that may require around 6 to 8 hours. That should be granted by the Rajya Sabha chairman, and that has to happen in the presence of the Prime Minister, but the Prime Minister should also make a statement on it. But the government's proposal is for a discussion under Rule 167, and they're saying that the Home Minister is willing to make a statement. Now, that is exactly where, even though the intentions of both the Treasury benches and the opposition party is very clear, where both sides want to have a discussion on Manipur, but under which rule, for how long, and who should be the one making a statement? Should it be the Home Minister or the Prime Minister? That is exactly where the logjam still continues. So we have to wait and see what exactly happens, because tomorrow is a private member's bill, and then perhaps on Monday, the Delhi ordinance on Delhi services is going to be coming up in the Rajya Sabha. So the chair will now have to decide. It's entirely his prerogative now, it's his discretion when he decides to allot the time and the date for a discussion on Manipur issue, because the opposition party feels that the 21-member delegation of the India MPs who went to Manipur, they submitted a memorandum to the governor. They've apprised the president of the country also. In that fairness, they want the Prime Minister to be present in the House when they make a briefing and they give a sense of the ground reality of Manipur to the House. The Prime Minister should also be present over there to be apprised about the situation on ground. So that is the forward demand of the opposition party leaders, the India Alliance MPs. It remains to be seen. The final call will be taken by the Rajya Sabha chair.
Right, Samya, thank you very much for joining us on the broadcast and getting us all those details, and also, of course, drawing things into perspective as far as where things stand in the parliament. We leave it at that, but let's also listen into the reactions that came in earlier from Mallikarjun Kharge, Derek O'Brien, as well as Piyush Goyal.
छोटा सजेशन भी नहीं मानते, प्राइम मिनिस्टर यहाँ आने दो बोले तो वो भी नहीं मानते, और प्राइम मिनिस्टर को आप इतना डिफेंड कर रहे हैं, मुझे समझ में ही नहीं आ रहा।
Every Indian should be proud. We must be proud of it. No, you cannot have an approach. Why are you shirking from the hard reality? India is rising as never before. The rise is unstoppable. Honorable members, after 3 decades of coalition governance under the leadership of the Prime Minister, you had 2014, you had 2019 electoral results. I am not required to defend anyone. If I am required to defend anyone, I am not required to defend right, I am not required to defend left, I am required to defend Constitution. I am required to defend your rights. Therefore, such an observation coming from leader of opposition is not very wholesome. We cannot have it, you see. We must be proud of our government.
267, our emergency notices which have given, you're looking at some other sections of the rules. Sir, without getting into the procedural and into the nitty-gritty, even though we do believe, sir, 267 supersedes all other rules. That's the day. So all the 267 notices you've received today supersedes any other 176 notice. But that's not the issue, sir. The issue is the people of this country want to hear us on Manipur. We as an opposition, all of us, including our respected leader, sir, we want this discussion on Manipur. We are not here to show ego or arrogance.
Government has taken every initiative possible on every occasion to appeal to all sections of the House to discuss this issue. I am indeed grateful to my fellow Member of Parliament and senior leader of the All India Trinamool Congress for showing this readiness to have a debate in this House. Also, we believe that we must run the House in a proper, orderly manner. Ultimately, we cannot have a situation where we have a discussion, but yet we continue to disturb the House. We cannot have a situation where when the Honorable Home Minister rises to give his response to this very sensitive issue and lay down the context and the actions that were taken. I think if we are all agreeable that there should be a discussion on Manipur.
Now, the